Hey everyone, Dennis K here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hope you're all doing well today. Hey, listen, I recently went live. We did a live streaming webinar. We went for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and we talked about all sorts of things to moving down to Belize as an expat, retiring in Belize, how to get used to your new environment. We talked a lot about investing, Airbnbs, rental income, taxes, all that kind of good stuff. But I realized that most of you don't have 2 hours and 15 minutes to sit and watch an entire live stream through. And so what we're doing is we're breaking that up into short segments. Some are 2 or 3, 5 minutes long. Some are 10 to 15 minutes long. And I'm going to be releasing these on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in any of these topics, look at the subject line below. And if you're interested, spend a few minutes and check it out. I think you'll really find it interesting. And who knows, you might learn something about Belize that you never learned before. So enjoy this snippet of my live stream, and we hope to see you in Belize soon. All right, so first of all, why Belize? Now, even if you've already decided on Belize, all right, I think it's really important that if you're buying and owning property in a foreign country, or planning on moving to a foreign country, or spending, months a year in a foreign country, there are some things that I personally feel are way more important than the palm trees and the food and the reef and all that kind of fun stuff, right? To me, I think it's important that you look at the foundational pillars of the country, especially when it comes to investment. Obviously, you guys are taking your hard-earned money that you've earned in the UK or Canada, United States, and you're entrusting that money to another country based on their laws, their property structure, their ownership rights. So, for example, when you're looking at different countries to invest in, like Costa Rica, Panama, Dominican Republic, Honduras, Belize, Portugal, Greece, other countries, you really got to do your homework, because not all countries obviously have the same foundation when it comes to their government, their structures, how property ownership is conveyed. For example, let me just do a share screen here with you on the issue of what law structure the country actually has as its base. All right, so let me just pull up a quick website. It's right here. So this is just Wikipedia called the List of National Legal Systems. So I'm not going to belabor this and go into a lot of detail, but this is something that I've studied in detail myself, and I know a lot of investors who are pumping in millions of dollars into Belize. They really make it their goal to understand really what is the legal structure of a country. So, for example, there's civil law, common law, statutory law, religious law, and a combination of the two. So when you look at some countries that might appeal to Americans and Canadians and moving to, you find that their structure is based on the Napoleonic law or Germanic civil law. For example, here, countries such as Costa Rica, very popular with North Americans, right? So you have Dominican Republic, again, based on Napoleonic civil law. France, Napoleonic code. When it comes down to other countries, Honduras, the same thing. So we just mentioned 3 countries or 4 that are very popular with Americans wanting to move to, retire, and invest in those countries, but they have a completely different law structure and property structure than we're used to. Now, going to British common law or English common law, that's what the United States and Canada is based on. This is a law structure that we're really familiar with, whether we realize it or not, whether we can, explain this in detail, what this means. But you see here, Belize is based on English common law, the same as the British Virgin Islands, the same as Canada, the United States, Ireland, other places, New Zealand. We have, just all of the countries that we're more familiar with are based on English common law. Now, what does that actually mean? It means that the way they structure their laws, even when it comes down to property ownership, the transfer of title, the guarantees and protections. So, for example, a Canadian or an American can come down to Belize, they can buy property, own property, they can own it in their own personal names, they can own it in a Belize Chapter 250, whatever, but they are guaranteed the same rights and protections for that ownership as a natural Belizean would, as a person who is born and raised in Belize, has a Belizean passport. So the government is not making any distinctions. This is very different when it comes to property laws or structures, for example, in Mexico, which makes it, they make it easy to own property. Own, we say own, but oftentimes it's just a 99-year lease. You don't actually own the property. You have to have a local, be 51% owner of the company. There's a lot of things going on with that. Not saying that Mexico might not be a good investment, but if I'm buying something in a different country, I want to make sure that I can own it fully. All right. So that's one of the benefits that comes with Belize. That's one of the foundational pillars. Also, what I like is that English is the main language of the country. Now, you might speak other languages, so it might not be a problem for you to go to Ecuador or Honduras and deal with their system, but a lot of North Americans don't speak Spanish or don't speak another language. So for them, being able to come down to Belize and go into any doctor's office, any hospital, any bank, any lawyer's office, read any real estate agreement, right, and have all of that to be in English without having to be translated, there's just a huge benefit in my mind and a huge protection. Also, we see that the protected areas and the rights and protections that Belize has set up. So for example, a lot of people are asking, what is Belize doing to protect what it has? And in other words, is it going to be overgrown? Is it going to become something like a Cancun or Playa del Carmen? Is the progress that it's making, the development that we're seeing, going to get out of hand so that it ruins its natural beauty and the reason why people go there in the first place? All right, so that's a very legitimate question. So let me answer that by going to this website right here. So let me just go through a couple and find the one I'm looking for. Right here. All right, list of protected areas of Belize. So let me just, I'm just going to go through very quickly. I mean, a maximum of 2 minutes on this, but I encourage you, go to Wikipedia, look up this list of protected areas in Belize. Belize has set aside 26% of its landmass to be completely protected, either part of national parks, marine reserves, United Nations World Heritage Sites. We have all these places. There are several, major national monuments in Belize, lots of nature reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and a lot of those are around Ambergris Caye. The reason a lot of you are on today, you want to know more about Ambergris Caye. But so when you look here, you have, let's go down to the marine reserves. So you have the Bacalar Chico Marine Reserve. That's on the northern part of Ambergris Caye. That's 15,000 acres, right? You have the Kekauke Reserve. You have the Glover's Reef. You have Holchan, which is 3,500 acres. That's just off the east coast of Ambergris Caye. You just have so much going for it. So Belize has really done a good job at making sure that it's not going to be overdeveloped, right? And one of the things too you got to look at in Belize is that compared to a place like Cancun or Playa del Carmen or Tulum, those places are able to boom like they are because those were created by the government of Mexico. Going back into the 70s, there was nothing in Cancun. The government of Mexico actually said, we want to create mass tourism. What area of our country has the best weather, the best beaches? Where can we pour billions of dollars into and just force the growth? And they've done that with Cancun, Playa, Tulum. Awesome places. Stephan, I love to visit those places. Belize is at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Belize government doesn't have any money. I'm just being straight up. They don't have funds for infrastructure. All right. So they can't just pump millions of dollars into an area. They don't, for the most part, build roads, put in infrastructure, put in electricity, put in water systems. A lot of these are done with private money, developers, individual owners. And so that right there limits the amount of growth. But also there's an inherent absorption rate in Belize. We can only absorb so much infrastructure coming in at one time. We can only absorb so many properties transferring hands, right? Everything kind of has to go through at the pace that Belize allows for, including building. So for example, when you come down to Ambergris Caye, you might see hotels, resorts being built, and it might take them 5 or 6 years to build. Where in the United States or Canada, that might be a 1-year build done, right? So it just grows at a lot slower rate. Let me go back to this for a minute. So when we're looking at, why Belize is getting the heat right now, why is it heating up? Because when you look at the 328 million people that live in the US and the 37 million that live in Canada, we have, what is that? 360 million people that live right here. And if they're looking for a country to move to, where number one, they feel it's safe and secure and they can own property. Number two, it's got great weather. Number three, it's English speaking. When you look at this entire area from Mexico down to Panama, there's one English speaking country in Central America. It's Belize. When you go into South America, there's one English speaking country. It's Guyana, British Guyana, which sits, I think it's right here, one of these. One is French and one is British. So you have two countries. To be honest, British Guyana does not get people moving there. It doesn't get the retirees. Belize is that one country that people are looking to go to. So that's why we're seeing such this massive uptick, right? So for example, if you were to go and just type in, what is a great country for an American to move to? Best places to retire. So for example, I went to the guys at International Living. And remember, all these articles that you guys see online, whether it be in Forbes or on CNN or International Living or Escape Artists and all these, these are all written by people that oftentimes have a certain bias. They're selling something, whether it be the report on the country they're featuring. But just check this out: world's best places to retire in 2021. And this is based on American, the North American market. All right. So what do we have here? We have Vietnam. All right. I've never thought about retiring in Vietnam. I don't know if many Americans would, but Vietnam, it's certainly an interesting country. They go ahead to make a good pitch on why that is. Malta. All right, you have Malta here. France, all right, I live in France, so a good portion of the year I'm here in France. I can see why France would be attractive to a lot of North Americans. Malaysia, that's an odd one for me. I don't know of a lot of Americans wanting to live in Malaysia. Ecuador, all right, cost of living in Ecuador is actually very reasonable. So I do know some American friends of mine who have moved to Ecuador. Portugal, all right, a little bit cheaper. You're still in Europe. Colombia. All right, what else do they have to say? Mexico, of course, Mexico. Mexico is still pretty popular. All right, and of course you got Panama. Now that Panama looks a lot like New York City to me, right? So, and of course they all have their pros and cons with each of these areas. But here's the thing: Belize is close to the United States, very easy to get to for most of us. All right. Again, for all those pillars, all those foundational pillars, it meets our needs. And we don't have to fly 14 hours or more with layovers to get to places like Malaysia, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, all these places. For example, I know when I'm in Belize, full time, if I need to get back home, something happens to mom and dad, or we need to get back home quickly, boom, I can be on a plane that afternoon. I can be back to the United States. Or when I'm doing business, a lot of you guys who are looking to move to Belize, you're still operating businesses back home, either remotely online, or maybe you are doing it through, maybe you have a team back in North America that you're communicating with regularly, just to be in that same time zone, right? It saves a lot of hassle. So those are all reasons why Belize is getting a lot more attention right now than it did before. And you can see that there's a lot more activity in Belize. All right, let's see if we have any questions coming up. All right, I'll answer that later. Let's go back and continue on. Yeah, so why Belize? Just a quick review, guys. Why Belize compared to Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Dominican Republic? Ease of doing business in everyday life. Immigration opportunities with the QRP program, or just immigration opportunities, period. All right, you can just show up in Belize and stay and never leave. Other countries, no, and that's what people don't understand. People oftentimes, and they do this when they're upset because of one thing or another, say, you know what, I'm leaving the United States, I'm leaving Canada, I'm moving to X, without realizing that they just can't move to another country, right? Countries don't just open the doors and allow you to come and stay. You have to meet certain requirements. You have to apply, you have to show proof of income, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. Belize, from everything that I've compared, in every other country in the world, Belize has the easiest immigration policy of any country I've seen, hands down. You can also work there, you can own a business, English being an official language, has opportunities. Now, which areas might be the best for you. Well, I've talked about this at length in other videos, so I'm not going to go through each of these areas, but Corozal, Placencia, Kyle, Ambergris Caye, they all have their pros and cons depending on your personality, your budget, your lifestyle. So again, I've gone through this before. These are pictures of Corozal that sits on the Mexican border. Placencia is on the mainland down south. Okay, pretty nice area down there too, but it still is mainland living. The Kyle district, you have the jungles of Belize. You have a lot of rivers. You have waterfalls. The cave systems are amazing there in the Kyle district. Kicalker is Ambergris Caye's sister island. Also a nice little island to live on. Very quiet, very small, beautiful, beautiful place. And then finally Ambergris Caye, which is the island that many of you are looking at. And so for the rest of this webinar, I kind of want to dig into some questions that have been coming up lately regarding Ambergris Caye and how it's different than other parts of Belize, why that is, and some things that we just may not have thought about before. So before I do that, let me go back because I can see we got some questions coming in, and then we're going to start to go through this little list here. So let's see. Oh man, you guys are popping the questions. All right. Could you summarize the pros and cons of each area, Nadine? I will. I promise you I will. We're pricing on goods and goods. Okay. All right. So listen, you guys got a lot of questions. I'm going to answer them all. We've been at this now for about 31 minutes. What I want to do, because I will answer all your questions, I promise. But what I want to do is give you some information right now that really applies to Ambergris Caye, and it should interest you if you're a property owner on Ambergris Caye or thinking of being one, or you want to live there, open a business. And I'm going to start with this. Okay, so first of all, this question about no MLS in Belize. All right, that's an issue. Number one, that there is no MLS. Number two is that there is no MLS. There are no, I shouldn't say no. There are very few property websites, real estate agents' websites that are well maintained and that are up to date and that don't have old, outdated listings on them. And part of it is just maybe training, myself included. There's some old stuff on our website that I just need to go on there and take down, all right? But there are other issues that are coming up, other things that are causing issues. As you guys do your research on Belize real estate, you're coming across old, outdated information, properties that sold 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And this is sort of, I should say, sort of warping your view of what the current market is really like. All right. So that's why I try to push a lot of my listings out now through YouTube so I can give you accurate, up-to-date information. Just let me give you an example by what I mean like of this. So let's go to Google. And I want to show you something right on my screen. Okay, so open up a new browser. If we just go Belize MLS, all right, let's see what comes up. I told you there's no Belize MLS, but it says right here, Belize Real Estate MLS.com. All right, so let's click on that, see what this is. Let me see if this comes up. All right, so this is a website. It is not an MLS. What it is that the owner of this website has gone to other real estate agents' websites, and they have selectively pulled off listings and things that they feel they're attracting leads to here, right? And more power to them, you know. But the problem is, a lot of these listings are old and have sold a long time ago. So, for example, here is one of my personal listings, parcel number 8642 at Secret Beach. All right, so if we click on that, it shows the price as $185. Here's all my pictures. All right, there's my sign on the property. This is my write-up. All right, the problem is this sold January of 2020. All right, it's even got my video on there, right? So this sold of January 2020 for $185. So the problem is, if you guys are researching websites, you go, hey, Dennis, I saw this listing on the MLS for $185. Yeah, that was the prices 14 or 15 months ago. Right now at Secret Beach, the last 4 or 5 properties that we've sold have sold between 235 and 250. And right now there's nothing left available under 275. You might say, well, Dennis, why would that be? What would happen in 12 or 14 months to make a property go from 185 up to 250 and 275? Easy. You know what happened? There was a road that was built. So for those of you who are used to seeing my Google Earth overlay map, just check this out. And Google Earth hasn't even updated, but those properties that I was just referring to, all up in this area, all right? So one sold for 185, these are now selling for 250, 275. This road now has gone in. So all of these beachfront properties, second row and third row lots, now have road access. Now, what happens when a property that was previously boat access only, all of a sudden has road access? The prices are going to skyrocket. They're going to go through the roof, because right now, people that want to have a beachfront property, that want to have road access, before that wasn't an option. Now it is. So guess what? Prices just went up. All right. If we go back to the whole MLS thing that people are looking for, right? So that's just one example. But this website here is full of examples like that. Let's just go back to our Google search here, typing in Belize MLS. Let's just see what comes up. What else comes up? All right. So we have the point two homes. Point two homes. What that is that is a template. That is a real estate website template, and some agents choose to share their listings with each other, but that is definitely not an MLS. We also have this here, MLS in Belize. Let me see what this one is. All right, again, this is a Remax website. So this is a Remax website, but there is no MLS in Belize, so I don't know who owns this website or what they're planning on doing with it. Looks like it's agents on the mainland. They were able to capitalize on the domain name, but this is not an MLS in any way, shape, or form. So if you go back one more time, and there's a point I'm making here that I think you're going to enjoy. So here's one, MLS Ambergris Key. All right, so you would think, well, this is an MLS. What this is are 3 reputable companies, Barrier Reef Realty, Ambergris Seaside, and Sunrise, that do a good amount of business on the island. They've decided to partner up. And so you'll find listings from all 3 of these reputable real estate companies on Ambergris Key. And if you go, and they keep the site up. But it is a MLS, but it's not an all-inclusive MLS. Where's the Coldwell? Where's the Remax offices? Where are all the other companies that also are reputable on here? Well, they're just not invited to participate, right? For one reason or another. So there is no MLS, but even if there was, here's the thing. MLS only works in mature and developed markets, all right? Because as an example, you go to buy property in St. Pete's, Florida, or somewhere to Florida. Let's say you're moving to Florida, you're moving to Orlando. So you look up a certain area on Zillow, and you're looking at all the houses. You can see, okay, in this general neighborhood of 500 houses, these 2 and 3 bedroom homes are all built between 1985 and 1990. They all have a similar age. They're all similar style. They all come with basic services and amenities convenient to that neighborhood. So you can expect to pay between this and this for a house, all right, within reason. How do you do that in a country like Belize? We don't have 2 homes side by side that even are the same size or even built out of the same materials, or even, there is no gated communities in Belize. A house could be built 20 years ago or 2 months ago. So when you're looking at property in Belize, you might think, well, geez, Dennis, how do I know I'm paying fair market value? How do I know I'm not getting ripped off? How do I know I'm not overpaying? Just look at the websites. Do you think you're overpaying for a lot of Secret Beach for $275,000? Do you really think that it's overpriced? Well, if you do, then just compare to what else has been selling around there. What can you get a property for on the southeast side or the northeast side, or maybe off grid, somewhere down by Laguna Estates? So the thing is, what I'm telling people, there is no MLS, but just look at what is selling, and just know that if you're working with someone reputable that does a lot of this, they make it their business, They want you to get a good deal. They want everybody to get a good deal. The seller, the buyer, the agent, they want everybody to go away happy. So they're going to really do their best. And you tell you what, I'll tell you if a property is overpriced, right? And there's a lot of stuff that I don't promote because it is overpriced and it's just way, way out there. Like I'm talking like I wouldn't even consider that because it really is a ripoff, right? So I'll tell you that up front, but there is no MLS in Belize. Now, the second thing that we need to overcome is it a developing market or is it a mature market? And what I mean by that is it depends on your timing and when you're looking to build, when you're looking to go vertical, when you're looking to invest or flip or whatever, that you should be looking at a market that is mature, that everything is in place, or you should be looking at something in the path of progress. Here's a question from Michael. Michael asks, will pricing on goods such as groceries for services like restaurants, bars rise as the population of the key increases? In 18 years, Michael, I've never seen that. I even at the major restaurants like the Blue Water Grill, I think I paid the exact same for a salad or a pizza or a filet mignon there as I did when I first visited in 2002, 2003. I have not seen prices increase at all on the key as more and more people come. I've not seen that at all. We are just not comfortable buying anything sight unseen and have never been to Belize yet, planning a trip in the fall. Do you find great numbers of clients buying without having been to Belize? So yeah, Laura and Bruce. So for example, since when the pandemic hit in March, so about March 3rd, through when they opened up, about 70% of our sales, this is my personal sales, 70% were to people who have never been to Belize, weren't even able to fly down to Belize, but with the on-ground team that we have, taking ground videos, drone videos, Google Earth Maps, seeing my YouTube channel, people that have bought before and own these areas, maybe some personal referrals, absolutely people feel comfortable buying sight unseen. I like it like this. If you were to buy stock in Apple, right, or if you were to buy stock in Tesla, you don't necessarily have to go and visit the Tesla factory or go to Apple headquarters, all right, because you can get enough information you need and you can get reports. You can see the value of the property. You can see what it looks like even because of drone and everything else that we have these days. And you can talk to people who are on the island. So if you wanted to pick up a deal, so for example, you're not coming down until the fall. If you want to wait, 100% back you up on that. I never, ever recommend somebody do something that they're not comfortable with. But that being said, if you find something today and you say, wow, you know what? That's a good deal. That would work for us. Go ahead and buy it. The worst that could happen is you come down on the fall and go, you know what? This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Ask me to sell it for you and I'll sell it and you can buy something else. But yeah, a lot of people do buy sight unseen, not only sight unseen, but without even having been to Belize. And this is not just small properties. I sold properties to Canadians, Europeans, and a couple from England, beachfront properties. They paid quite a bit of money for and never set foot in the country. But, like I said, we try to provide enough information that they can make their buying decision anyway. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video today. Really appreciate it. If you like these types of videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button below and tune in because we often post several new videos a week, including videos on lifestyle, investing in Belize, new listings, all sorts of good information that you're going to want to know. And also, if you want to hit me up on a live one-on-one Zoom call, the link is below to just simply buy me a coffee. That's all I ask. 1 or 2 coffees, buy one for Steph and I. Let's jump on a Zoom call, talk about your plans for Belize, how we can help make your dreams a reality. All right, thanks a lot. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.